just imagine you decide to film in Europe and you want to do part of the production in the UK and part of the production in Germany. Intuitively, what you would do is you would form a company in the UK because that is necessary to access the UK benefits, and you would look to enter into a co-production agreement with a German producer through who you then would access the German subsidies. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. As you can see here, there's a smiley face on the German side and a very sad face on the UK side, which means the German co-producer can very well access the German subsidies, DFFF, and the local subsidies because Germany is open to co-productions, allows for co-productions, so co-productions are built into the system. The UK requires a singular status of the UK applicant, so a co-production as such will not work. I have to say, and I should have mentioned that at the beginning, there's an exception to that. If a co-production is made under the EU treaty, then the UK system is open to co-productions, but outside the EU convention, co-productions outside the EU convention, co-productions do not work for UK purposes. I think that Musketeers must have been a EU convention co-production. Yes, so the EU convention can be somewhat limiting, and it does not always work for US producers. So what we have seen in our practice is really situations where mostly the EU convention didn't work. So co-production doesn't work. So what do we do? The path to solve this problem is by looking at definitions, looking at what the German system really requires and what the UK system really requires. The German system requires producer status, and so we look at how is the producer defined, and the UK system requires that the applicant is a so-called film production company. A film production company, an FPC, is an entity which is responsible for the production of the film, for the pre-production, for principal photography, post-production, and delivery of the completed movie. It requires involvement on a very hands-on level. It requires involvement in the daily decision-making process. As opposed to that, the producer under German law is very different. It requires the producer has to have final say, has to be involved in the production process like the FPC, but it is sufficient if the involvement is on a very high-level basis. So it's sufficient if the German producer has, for example, final say and doesn't get involved in the daily production process at all. The German producer has to bear financial risk, and the German producer has to bundle the copyright, so acquired directly or indirectly from the various contributors to the film, the copyright, and bundle the copyright. So that these features are characteristic for the German producer. And the German producer is still a producer if in a service production situation where the German producer retains the services of a production services company. The production services company does everything, enters into contracts with cast, crew, vendors, and then passes everything on to the principal, to the German producer. So what we do here to solve the problem is we form a co-production between a UK entity which is owned by the US producer, set up specifically for the purposes of this film. The German and the co-production community then retains the services of the UK film production company, very much similar to a production services arrangement under German law. The UK filmmaker, the UK film production company, carries out the production from pre-production through principal photography, post-production until delivery of the film, enters into all agreements, makes all the daily decisions, and all that is required from a German perspective is that the rights are eventually transferred up to the co-production community, that the German producer bears the risk of cost overruns, and that the German producer, or the co-production community in this case, theoretically has the right to step in and to change decisions, has the right of final say. And that is compatible with the UK system, so we have tested this in several cases. The last time, most prominently, was Monuments Men, and it was accepted by the German authorities as well as by the UK authorities.